Alright, CBT lesson for William. This is Bon Jovi, Wanted, Dead or Alive. This is the guitar solo and the riffs, which are coming through on, I think, some of the choruses and some of the verses. Very, very detailed, man. I've got every little technique used, EQ guesstimation. It starts, the first lead related thing as far as solo is going to come in at 119. So I got that part sectioned off as the riff section. Everything's time-stamped and subgrouped. Basically that's the same thing. Where you see a timestamp, that's basically your subgroup, and those are going to be key. I left some notes on the back of your tabs. Make sure you read that. That'll totally help you get these riffs down and get them feeling the way they need to feel. What I used was the official video, but it was off Bon Jovi Vivo. The reason I tell you that is because I have them time-stamped and they're not going to match if you just grab any random one. So make sure you go to Bon Jovi Vivo to the official video. Alright, so the tuning is drop D. Now, when you do the acoustic, it's drop D. On the electric, there's not a whole lot of parts in there where you're even utilizing string 6. But it is drop D as well on that. The tuning, I don't know, I haven't heard you play, so I don't know if you're familiar with alternate tunings. Drop D tuning is the same as standard, which is E, A, D, G, B, E, right? But for drop D, we're taking this string 6 and dropping it a whole step flat or down. So on your tuner, this needs to say D, A, D, G, B, E. Matter of fact, if you want to tune to me, I'll just... That's string 6, but it's a D. Those are A, D, G, B, and our high E. Okay, so fingering is... I like to put the fingering because sometimes if you don't know, it could make the riff super hard. So it doesn't mean that every finger that I put down per fret and string is exactly the same finger that Sambor is using, but it probably is. Just because a lot of these riffs I already know, and a lot of people use them, and there's, typically a primary way to do the fingering. Not always though, but experiment with that. What I'm getting at is that's not etched in stone, but I did put that down for you. What else? There was something else I wanted to tell you regarding that. I put the pick direction, which, believe it or not, most of it is down picking. But there are some parts where it's down up. There's a big chunk of pinch harmonics that Sambor is using. And I left some notes, some stuff that can help you with those if you need that help. At 119 on our timestamp for riffs, here's what we got. And I have the volume on the guitar turned down a little bit because it's not guns blazing loud. It'll be, oops. That's the first one. And that's 13 on the B with your third finger. Back that with a couple fingers. Your middle and your index, or at least your index. I usually will use a couple fingers. What that will do is help you stabilize the bend, strengthen it, and it actually feels a lot more solid when you do that. We're bending it a whole step, which means 2 frets. We're bending a C to a D basically. So there's our target on fret 15. So I'm going to back up 2 frets, bend it up to that. Okay, stop that with the pick, just stick it on the string, come back down. You don't want to accidentally go. That would be a bend release. We're just doing a bend. So we stop that, come down, pick it again. There's a short rest, you'll see in your tabs. Then 12G, bend release, a whole step, and that's third finger, 12G, we're going to go. So we're bending a G to an A, but we're going to bend release. So there's our bend release. There's a rest there, and then you'll hear a pull off. Well, you may not hear it, but it's in there. So we have, and then the next timestamp is 122, and it's 12G right where you just were actually, and you're going to repeat that bend, release, pull off. This time there's no rest in it, and it goes. So bend, release, get the middle finger out of the way, pull off the 10, and play the 12th fret twice. The next time stamp is 155. This is 13 on the high E. And you're going to bend, release, but the bend is pretty long. In other words, you're going to go. And then 10E. The next time stamp is 2 minutes in, and it's back to the 12G here. Bend, release, and then 10G. 12D twice, vibrato, rest, slide. So it's, and just slide it, you know, it's more of the effect of the slide. But when you end the slide, just stick your hand over the strings as you're sliding so you don't hear the stop point of that slide. 204, this part you'll totally recognize because it's overdubbed, and there it goes. And then 210, you'll have it again. And that's 3A. You'll see a fraction of 1/4. That's a quarter step bend. On guitar, we're set up in half steps, right? So that's how we gauge, you know, the distancing. So how do we gauge a quarter step? It's half of a half step. In other words, think of it as a real slight bend. They're used a lot in blues, because this would be a half step. We want half that distance. 5A, same thing on the 3D, quarter step, and back to 5A. And then that repeats at the 210 mark. Then the solo comes in at 225. Go up to fret 12 on the A with your first finger, slide it, and right when you get above fret 5, you want to pick fret 5. And the volume, full volume now. And that'll sound like this. Is that the first subgroup? Yeah. And then it'll be alright, that's half the solo almost. So we're sliding, right? When you get over 5A, pick, slide to 3. So it's a whole step descending slide. And then, once you get to the 3rd fret, reverse that. You're going to pick the 3rd fret, slide it to 5. And that's a C to a D. So we have. That's our first time stamp. 228. You're going to go. It'll go 5A, and I would go 3rd finger for this now. Now you have a rest, so that gives you time to do the adjustment. So we'll do the 5A, 3A palm mute, and that's just lightly setting your palm right in front of the bridge. You actually should feel the metal of the bridge on your palm here. And if it's choked out too much, you're either pushing too hard or you're too far up this way. So if you can feel the bridge, you're usually pretty close. Stuff like this can be tricky, especially when you just got to hit one note palm muted, you know. The 5 isn't, the 3 is. So, and then we have to lift it off and slide from 3 to 5. That's that timestamp / subgroup, which is. And that's why I set these timestamp subgroups in pretty short parts. Most of the time they're from a given note to like a rest, but you want to repeat those when you're practicing this to get used to the feel of it, you know. I think you'll get your fastest results that way. Actually, I guarantee you will. Okay, then actually there's still a little more in this subgroup actually. This is a little longer of a subgroup, but that can be one. From those 4 notes to the rest can be a smaller subgroup. It'll be palm mute 3A and open A, and then 5A, no palm mute. Then 5D, and here's where the pinch harmonics come in, and there's a lot of them. You're going to pinch. Now you'll see for the pinch harmonics, you get different tones and frequencies by where you move between the pickups. I think the way I set this up for the most part was if you kind of stay around center pickup, that's where Sambora is for most of this. There is a part where it's closer to right behind the neck pickup, and I drew an arrow pointing this direction coming off the pinch harmonic on the technique to tell you to move it over a little bit so you can try and get these frequencies. Actually, it's coming up pretty quick here actually. So we're doing the 5D. We're gonna pinch harmonic, and if you can't get these right now, William, don't sweat it. On my channel you'll see the notes. You can a good video you can go to that I did on pinch harmonics. If it's too tough now, don't worry about them and come back and add them in. But I'm going to teach you as if you know them. Whole step, and as it's bent, pick it 2 more times with pinch harmonics. So it's okay. Okay, then don't release it. Come back to 5. Do a bend release pinch harmonic. And then 3D pinch harmonic vibrato. So, oops. Awesome. So, vibrato, kind of bracket your thumb. This is a good way to do it, and let that come from your wrist. It's a good technique for that. So. The next timestamp subgroup is at 232. This is where we do alternate picking. And down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And when you hear something faster, it's usually alternate picked. And that's probably one of the faster riffs in here. And that's 12-14 13-15 B, and 13-15 E. Down, up, down, up, down, up. And then you'll hit an extra 15 on the E, and that's where we're going to start our whole step bend. So you would go. That's at 232. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Another good little pointer I want to throw out at you when you're working on solos and anything on guitar. It's good to mute above and below the strings. So if you're getting some unwanted string noise, you need to check that. And sometimes I'll set the palm over the upper strings to keep them clean if I'm not playing those. But as I'm doing this run, I'm touching the D. When I do the B, I'm touching G, and E is touching B. So we got. Alright, so then we go to the bend. Hold it, pick it, and release it. And pull off to 13. So see, I've got 3 fingers down. And then 15, bend, vibrato. .236. And here's the pinch harmonic I'm talking about. Open A twice. 5D. Pinch harmonic, but it's the tone that he's getting isn't above the middle pickup. It's right behind the double coil on my Ibanez here. So it'd be as opposed to it's a higher frequency or pitch back here. So and then palm mute open A once, and then open A no palm mute. So we enter it with 2 open A's, do the 5D pinch harmonic vibrato, and then palm mute, no palm mute. Another thing is if the palm mutes are throwing you, you can eliminate those at first too and then come back and add them. Alright, power chords. We're doing a D5 to a C5 on a slide. So it's a whole step slide. 5-7 AD, slide it to 3-5, and then hit 3-5, slide it to 5-7. And then he vibratos the chord. Those are tough. I mean, until you're used to doing them, of course. So. Alright, also, I got every little tiny thing in this, man. So you, like this next thing, you got the... After that vibrato, he slides the 5A up to around fret 12. You'll see parentheses around that. That means don't hang out on it. Just get up to it. It's the effect of that more than anything. Then 035 on the A. This is timestamp 239. By the way, the power chord one was 237, so we're 2 seconds later in the riff. So we have 035A, 3D pentarmonic half step bend. Remember half step. 242. No, wait a minute. We're not done. Then a bunch of pinch harmonics again. And so coming off this, you have and that's 5-0 or 5-0-3-5 on the A, 3-5-5 on the D, bend release, 3D vibrato, and they're all pinch harmonics. So oops. 242 into the, that's our next one. It goes, oops. Yeah. Cool technique. Pick, hammer, pull. Open, 3 open on the D. 5-3-5 on the A. So pentarmonic 3D and 5D with a half step bend on the 5. Stop the note, and then 5-3 on the D, pentarmonic vibrato the end. Then here's another little thing that I think a lot of people miss. If you listen really close, you'll hear this. Grab the pick, tap it on fret 12 on the D and G, and just do a pick scrape going up, you know, past the pickups. It's in there. Then we got 12G, third finger, and you're going to bend it a whole step. It'll sound like this. Wait. And that's 12G, back it with a few fingers, bend it a whole step, and then go 13B with the pinky. So it's, do it again, but pinch harmonic the G, and go 13 on the E this time. Then back to 12G, and on your arrow, you'll see the bend will go for a second and then go up. So that means, like, let that 12 hang out for a second. 13B, and then pinch harmonic 12G, bend release, 10G twice, vibrato pinch harmonic slide. Oops. Missing it. 249. Oops. Palm mute open, 5-3 open on the A, 6-3 on the E, and then 2E. So, and then a D chord, open A and D, and then 2-3 GB. Okay, and then that's it for the solo. The very last riff that comes in is at 3:30 into the song, and I love this. I wish they would have turned it up in the studio. It goes. So 10B, 14E, half step bend release, 10E upstroke, 13 pull to 10 on the B, 12G bend release pull to 10, and 12G bend vibrato. And there we go, man. If you have any questions, William, let me know. It's very thorough, so I think you're going to be fine with it. But CBT students, you're my students, so if you have questions, don't hesitate.